Okay, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm Frankie-san.
And I'm Mark.
Okay, a couple of quick announcements. We're going to go through the box office, and then we're going to talk about the big franchise of the year, besides Star Wars, at the end of the year. Anyway, okay, you know what the blog is? Just go to Google and type in Videoland Express. And Google has the website, has the blog, has us on Facebook, and also has us on
YouTube.
On YouTube. Thank you.
Don't forget that.
And we had a technical problem last time, so we lost 10 minutes of the show. But I did a little recap on our radio show. Okay, as a matter of fact, there's a new radio show on our blog. There's a widget, and it's Blog Talk Radio, and I did a show last night. Okay, so that kind of helped catch up on a lot of things. Okay, and the reason I'm saying that because now we're going to be taking a break. He went on vacation. That's going to be my turn to go on vacation for May. I should be back in June. Probably be missing Guardians, Galaxy number 2, Alien Covenant, Baywatch, a movie nobody was asking for, and Pirates of the Caribbean, number 5, 6, 7, I don't know, I lost count. But anyway, we'll be back in June, hopefully, for Wonder Woman. But you will still get the reviews on my blog, and you will get reviews on the radio show. So the radio show is going to be taking over. I know I gave the radio show a break just to do this, and also I was working on the movie with Hugh Jackman, The Greatest Showman. We got that out of the way. Finally, there's a wrap. That's going to be coming out on Christmas. And let me see what else. Yeah, so the website is on hold. The actual website, videolandexpress.com. I don't know if I'm going to bring that up or not, because a lot of people said, you know, Frank, a lot of information over there is almost the same information on your blog. Okay, and I was paying a lot of money for that website too. So, and then it kind of raised up the price. So that kind of nixed it, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if I'm going to bring it back or not, but just go to the blog, and you also get a link to Godzilla community on Google. You have to join Google for that. Sorry about that. We have over 4,000 members. And you can also find me on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, blah, blah, blah. You can just Google all that and you'll find me. It's that simple. But the radio show is going to take over. There will be at least one radio show per week until we come back over here. Okay? And a little trivia last week. I did a little trivia, yes. What did Hugh Jackman, who's just wrapped up in this new movie, The Greatest Showman, which I mentioned 2 weeks ago. And what does that movie have in common with Godzilla 2014? It was a bit of a stretch for a trivia, but it was the same cinematographer that worked on The Greatest Showman. He actually worked on Godzilla 2014. So the look should be interesting for a musical out of all things. A big giant creature, you know, tall as the Empire State Building. And he got photographed a certain way. Now we're going to see how Hugh Jackman is going to look with that kind of schematic, that you could say. Okay, it's more technical, but I'm trying to make it easy for you guys, for you just regular film fans. Okay, so let's get right into it. The box office. Okay, Beauty and the Beast. This is worldwide now. Beauty and the Beast is over 1.52 billion. It's like, well, that's 1,052,000, whatever. Number one. Fast and Furious is killing it, folks. Okay, that's number 2 already international. It's already passing the $300 mark. And China, you know, China is a big thing nowadays. Unfortunately, the word is getting out that Fast 8, whatever, is not as tight as the other ones. I mentioned that in my radio show. We're going to get his full review. I mentioned I still give 4 out of 5. I liked it, but we'll get more into that in a minute or so. But it's crossing 900 million mark, and it will cross $1 billion, and it will probably be Beauty and the Beast as the number 1 picture. There's a lot of other pictures coming out this summer, but they're basically all reboots, remakes, sequels, and I don't see anything else besides Star Wars at the end of the year beating that. The only one picture that's guaranteed that's going to come out next week is Guardians of the Galaxy. That will probably be competing with Fast and Furious as the biggest picture of the year until Star Wars comes out. But anyway, right now, Beauty and the Beast over $1 billion. Fate of the Furious, 100 million away from $1 billion, which is going to take out Beauty and the Beast for now. Logan actually made 600 million. That's at number 3. And Skull Island, believe it or not, is number 4. Not too bad. Everybody said, oh, the monkey is not going to do that good. The monkey killed it. Okay, 555 million and counting, because it made over 175 million in China and still counting. They haven't closed up the box office yet. The way China works is sometimes they will show, to them it's a foreign picture. Any American film not made in China is a foreign film. Okay, so as far as they're concerned, you got a window of 6 to 8 weeks to play in China, and then they close it off.
Whoa.
Yeah. because they got their own movies. Don't forget, China is their industry is actually bigger than ours, believe it or not.
I can believe it.
Yeah. And that has to do with the volume of people. And every week they're opening in some theater in some part of the country. Okay, so they're going to expand even more. And the U.S., of course, we're trying to get in there. They did that joint venture with
Alibaba?
No, the one with Matt Damon, The Great Wall.
Oh, right.
And that completely tanked. And China said, I don't think we need you guys. Telling hello with that.
Probably. They're probably right.
Yeah. I mean, But in the meantime, they got Fate of the Furious. And they figure, okay, you guys spend the $250 million. We're not going to do it. I mean, they made one picture called The Mermaid. They made $500 million. The thing only cost about $50 million.
I guess they really know their market. And it's sort of like when you try to combine two different, I don't know if this makes any sense, this analogy, two different meals into one meal, two different tastes into one. It sort of goes wrong. It goes awry.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Yeah, you get two different recipes. You
mix them together, and what do you come out with?
Yeah, something bitter.
It's like bleh.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so that's what's going to happen. So the real competition for the whole summer will be Guardians of the Galaxy and the Fast and the Furious. I mean, what would he got? Pirates of the Caribbean, maybe $1 billion, maybe. I don't know. I played the second time.
How did it do last time?
It made about like $800 million.
Really? And I heard it was panned.
It was panned, yeah, but it's got its fans. And same thing like Transformers. Transformers will probably make $1 billion. And
it will get panned.
It will get panned.
But people are still going to go see it.
Yeah, Despicable Me, number 3. I mean, the Minions movie itself is only $100 million away from taking out Frozen. Frozen is considered in the top 10 as the biggest animation moneymaker of all time. Frozen.
Jeebus.
And what's right behind it, for only $100 million worldwide, Minions, the Minions solo movie. Believe it or not. So Despicable Me is going to do good.
Yeah, I thought they did. I didn't think they did well.
They did huge internationally. Right now it's at number 11 worldwide of all time.
Wow.
The second biggest animation movie.
Surprised.
I'm glad because I'm a big Minions fan. That'll do. Banana,
but
boss.
How long you think they can take it?
Actually, what they should have done was make another Minions movie instead of Despicable Me, because number 2 really sucked. But anyway, and in July
they try to put a romance in, and that's when they ruin it.
They ruin it.
It's sort of like the formula is this, and it's when you change a formula, sort of like Coke. You change the formula in Coke, all of a sudden it's rotten.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. They basically tried to add in another person into the mix, try to put a romance angle into it, and they really, like they said, they really screwed the mix.
Yeah, well, what happened with Coke Classic and we had Coke, and then they made the new Coke, and what they did, they changed the formula by getting rid of the sugar and put high fructose
corn syrup.
And
that's when they ruined it.
They ruined it, but then they said, "Oh, we're going back to all Coke Classic." They never changed the recipe.
Nope.
You still got the corn syrup,
yep.
and you're still drinking the same crap when they changed the formula.
Yeah, I stopped drinking it when they started putting the high fructose corn syrup.
That shit is killer for your liver.
It's terrible. It's because you can taste. It tastes like water, carbonated water with some kind of high density sugar, and it doesn't taste normal. That's why I switched to tea. That's why a lot of people switched over to tea, and we tried to avoid the high fructose in the teas, because some of these tea beverages, like I forgot certain companies, they don't put the high fructose corn syrup, but some companies do, and you're supposed to avoid it.
Actually, it's the American companies that put it, not the foreign companies. You go for taste these foreign drinks over there, like in China and Japan, and they stay away from that. Also, they stay away from GMO products.
Right.
And
Canada also.
Yeah, exactly. But let's talk about international.
Yes.
Okay.
Going back to the topic.
Fast and the Furious. Now I did a radio show. He's going to give his review. I did a radio show yesterday, and as soon as the radio show, as soon as I did the radio show, should I say, what happened was Universal decided to put the reins on Vin and pull him back a little bit. You heard about the feud. There was supposed to be a clip and end of the movie, like you saying that you went to see the movie and the audience was waiting for a clip.
Yes, a few people waited because it's sort of like the Fast and Furious has become sort of like they copied off of Marvel,
Right.
and they at the end they say this is what's going to happen next to really, teaser to gear you up for the upcoming event.
Right. So what happened was it was supposed to be The Rock and Jason Statham. They teaming up for another project, right? Vin got pissed off. He took the clip right out. Universal said, okay, because he was pissed off with The Rock. That's why of all the publicity they're doing, you got everybody showing up on these different shows, the different talk shows. But you never see Vin and The Rock together, like on the Tonight Show or Jimmy Kimmel. They're always doing separate interviews.
Yep.
Universal,
Bad move, Vin.
Yeah.
Bad move.
Well, this is what happened. Bit him right in the ass. Universal told him this past week, you're going to make amends with Dwayne Johnson, and we're going to go ahead with that spin-off. Fast and the Furious is getting its first official spin-off. Like the Han Solo movie of Star Wars. So it's going to be Jason Statham and The Rock, the first spin-off of number 10. And also they told Vin, okay, number 10 is going to be the last because you're running out of stories. Once you put the submarine and you're doing that James Bond thing, there was another article. To get these articles, if you want to read them, the last blog I did. I'm doing the blogs once a week. So just go to my blog, and you see all the articles. Okay? So the article about Jason Statham and the spinoff is there. And there was another article, Hollywood Reporter. I told Mark over here, oh, by the way, there's an article. And he thought I was joking. And Hollywood
because we did that joke. Remember, we did that joke on the show a long time ago, how things started copying Ernest, and that was one of the biggest jokes on the internet, and people said, oh, everything starts gravitating to Ernest, like Ernest goes to camp, Ernest saves Christmas, that's a snow episode, Ernest Halloween episode, and then Ernest goes to space.
Friday the 13th. Jason, he went to outer space.
Yeah, everybody, and even Machete, when we talked about Machete, they did a joke about how Machete 3, Quentin Tarantino writes, Machete 3 in space.
And even James Bond. Guys,
He went to space.
He went to space. Do you guys remember this? This is
Yep.
Viewmaster.
Yes.
Remember this?
Yes.
It's a bunch of little slides and stuff like that. In case you young ones don't remember.
Yep.
You put this on a little contraption, you look at it, and
Yes.
you can see stills and stuff, Moonraker.
Right, stills.
I found that. I also found, talking about King Kong. King Kong, that's the 1976 version with Jeff Bridges.
Oh,
and
is that when they do the Twin Towers?
Yeah, the Twin Towers, exactly. And, of course, Superman, the movie, made it to Viewmaster. The good old days. Yeah, the thing's kind of falling apart here. That's how old it is.
And people may forget, and they talk about it all over the internet, that Moonraker in space, James Bond in space, was sort of an answer to Star Wars. Because Star Wars came out in like the mid-'70s and
Right.
became a big hit, and then everybody sort of said, we got to get into the space angle. And it was all
Cash in.
because, it was all because George Lucas wanted to do, like you had said before, Flash Gordon. And they told him no, that he wasn't going to touch that, they weren't going to give it to him. It's okay, fine, then I'll do my own Flash Gordon.
Yeah. And, well, the same thing with Indiana Jones. Steven Spielberg wanted to do the next chapter of James Bond that was for your eyes only, where he goes to Greece. And they told him, we don't take you seriously. This was before he did Schindler's List, then everybody took him seriously. But anyway, so George Lucas said, listen, forget about those guys. I got an idea with our own James Bond, and we'll call him Indiana Jones.
Right.
See how things exist? Now, in this Hollywood Reporter article, I said, listen, the only place these guys can go is in outer space. Mm-hmm. And this is an editorial from Hollywood Reporter themselves.
Bad idea.
Yeah. And of course, Chris Morgan is a big James Bond fan. If you listen to number 6, the soundtrack, Therese says, okay, it was, as a matter of fact, and there's a reference in number 6 and number 7. Fast and Furious. And number 6, he goes, all of a sudden we're international terrorists, and we're traveling the globe. What are we, like James Bond? And then in number 7, when they're getting chased by the drone, it said, okay, first it was cars, then planes, and now spaceships. I said, that's not a spaceship, that's a drone. Oh, whatever, that's Therese. And he's dropping all these hints about James Bond. So I said, listen, if James Bond goes in outer space, there's the writer of the article in Hollywood Reporter said they got no place to go but outer space, especially when that submarine showed up at the end. So I love the movie, but my issues was this. It started off great in Cuba. Okay, and then that whole thing, I really had a problem that it was not filmed in New York City. Now, remember I told you guys, watch out, that it's a CG, and I double-checked with my fellow background actors. Did anybody work on that? Even at the end, they're on the rooftop, family, we're all together, family, and it's supposed to be on New York City rooftop.
Yes.
Atlanta Studios in Georgia. There's a studio down in Georgia. Same studio that they filmed The Walking Dead.
Walking Dead, yes.
Yeah, it's the same studio.
Yeah, you see at the end, they'll say promotion for Georgia. Georgia Studios.
Exactly, okay.
But, I can understand because it's expensive to film in New York, right?
Right.
New York gives most of these film industries, not to bash anybody. I don't want to be the guy who says, "Oh, that guy bashed us. He's letting everybody in on what's going on." These big studios get tax breaks because it's expensive to film on location. It's very expensive to film on locations. But some of these, I guess, directors and producers, they want that feel, but it costs so much money. So usually New York cuts them a break, cuts them a check, gives them all these freebies that in reality it's costing New York money.
Tax incentives, right.
Yeah, it's not really making New York, like they say most of the times, wherever they're shooting, those locations aren't making a dime.
Yeah.
They ain't making a dime. It's just a promo for the city that they're in to say, "Oh, look, this is New York. This is the best." But then it's funny too. If you're giving tax breaks, Georgia's giving tax breaks to a movie production to do a movie, and then they're promoting New York. That's pretty funny. It's like we reap all the benefits, and thank goodness we don't pay for it.
Yeah. Vancouver, that happens a lot. It happens in a lot of different states because it's good for promotion for the states. Hey, come over here, we give you a tax incentive. And at the end of the film, it says the producers would like to thank Georgia, Vancouver, California, Minnesota, whatever, it's all publicity. But the problem is, the movie cost $250 million. What happens if it did film in New York? They went to Times Square. What happened, I said this a couple times before. Vanilla Sky, Tom Cruise, 5 hours, Sunday morning, they close a 3-block radius in every direction, northeast, southwest, whatever, and the movie tanked. It cost the city a lot to do that, block traffic and everything like that. New Yorkers were pissed off, and they said, nope, you can't do that. So if you saw the film, how'd that happen? Well, one of the background actors told me that some union people were called, they were standing on the sidewalk and stuff, and they had the cars drive by. And that's it. That was second unit. Second unit means it's not the main directors, the main cinematographers. When I say directors, there's a director, there's an assistant director, there's a bunch of different directors, assistant directors and all that. Anyway, and also the stars. So you notice, and that whole sequence of them trying to trap Vin Diesel, none of the actors get out of the cars. Well, because then they have to shoot. Even in the rooftop scene, that was done inside the studio, and then the camera pulls out, you see New York City.
Right.
Again, they just had a big green screen surrounding the rooftop, and then they superimposed New York City.
Yeah, because the location almost made no sense. It's like you have them in a rooftop garden. They're pulling away. As they pull away, you see this huge building blocking them. It's sort of like this huge building that's sort of like low-income housing, project housing.
Yeah, that made no sense. You noticed that. You noticed that.
I noticed that. And then they pull away, and then you see the World Trade, the new World Trade Freedom Tower.
One corner, and
then you see
Empire.
And like, wait a minute, that makes no sense.
Yeah. Because
but I'm saying,
if you're looking down Manhattan, the World Trade Center's here. And Empire, well, you guys looking at home, where Trade Center will be here, Empire State is right in the middle of Manhattan. Over here, it's like one is in the east and one is in the west. Wrong geography.
But I say, sometimes the locations really, it's good. I think what they did is fine, because I sometimes don't think it adds too much to the story. Because heck,
they didn't have to mention New York City. They could have been anywhere.
They could be anywhere. I mean, if you want to do green screen and save money, go ahead. I'm not going to hate on you for doing that.
Yeah.
You want to do it, do it. I mean, everything's going to be green screen anyway, so let it happen. If it's going to save money, it's going to save New Yorkers headaches, do it.
Okay, so that was my only problem, but I love the ending. And for those who haven't seen it, we're not doing any spoilers. But the last half belongs to Jason Statham. He steals the show. He does some funny one-liners. He has a little chemistry with Helen Mirren, who plays the mother. and said, "What kind of son are you?" You know, the rapport was excellent. Even though Helen Mirren only had a couple minutes of screen time, she really bites into it, I thought. And Jason Statham has one of the funniest lines out of the whole franchise. I won't say it. He tells something to the bad guys like, "You were actually going to do that?" And, you know, because Jason Statham, if you saw number 7, he it starts with you know, the brother in the hospital bed. And he said, "Make sure my brother takes care of it." So you see the doctor and the nurse in the corner who was shivering. He walks into the hallway. You see a whole bunch of SWAT team laid out on the floor. He takes the elevator, shines his glasses, puts it on, walks out of the elevator, and you see the whole lobby completely destroyed. And he takes a grenade, slaps it into one of the wounded SWAT team, and he walks out of the lobby, blows up, and the whole facade. You know, it's just to show that he's a mean, cold, mean bastard, right? And at the end of this movie, he's protecting somebody, and he's like, well, I don't want to say, but for those who have seen it know what I'm talking about. He turns into a real big teddy bear, and he beats the crap out of the bad guys in the plane. That's in the trailer, by the way. If you saw the trailer, you know what I'm talking about. He fights a bunch of bad guys on the plane. That great sequence, and I find something he saves the movie. The Rock was pretty good. The other disappointment was that there was no mano a mano fight. You think Jason and The Rock, and now we know why. Now we know why there isn't, because they're saving it for the spin-off. So, Mark, what do you think? Enough me. What do you think about the movie?
All right.
Is it the best ones out of all these, or the worst, or what do you think?
Well, out of all these, like everybody always says, the one that really brought it to was Fast 5. You know, when The Rock, the introduction of Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
He really brought it to another level. Like they always say, if you want a movie to do it, put The Rock in it.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's like San Andreas. They said the movie had nowhere to go. They put him into it, and they sort of gave it life. And they said the movie did make money.
It did make money, yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, they hired him to do a Chinese production. There was a movie back in the 70s when disaster movies were really big, and the film was called The Towering Inferno. And in Korea, I think South Korea, they did a version of that about 5-6 years ago. And they said, let's do another one, but let's do it again. But this time, let's stick The Rock in it.
Whoa.
So it's a remake of, he's a firefighter. It's almost the same thing like San Andreas, same exact role.
Dang.
He's a firefighter. His family's strapped up on the 120th floor up on top, and he's got to go to the rescue and fight the fire and save the skyscraper from burning down to the ground or whatever. But now, okay, you think he's going to save Baywatch?
Okay, Baywatch. The only way
Nobody
I
was
can
asking
see
for that.
He has a lot of personality. He can make any movie happen. As long as you keep the budget low, that movie can make a lot of money. Now, they would have to stay under Deadpool money, you know, with the price of what Deadpool costs to make. If they stay under that parameters, they can make money. They can make the money back.
From what I heard, Baywatch costs less than $100 million.
Okay.
But it's like Chips. It's a movie. It's a TV show from the 70s.
Well, that doesn't matter because people don't really see it, don't remember it. But that's what I'm saying. It changes. It doesn't really matter what Baywatch was because this almost doesn't even look like anything from what Baywatch was.
Right. Baywatch was a lousy show to begin with. I don't know.
Well, this movie can make money depending on if the budget is low. If you bring the budget low, you work on the story, the humor's there, the back and forth, then you can make some money, I think.
Well, I don't think it's going to be a big hit. But the other one he did, Jumanji.
No, Kevin Hart?
Jumanji, Robin Williams.
Number 3. Yeah.
Well, this is a remake, the one with Robin Williams, and nobody was asking for that. Remember, Dwayne Johnson is going, "Hey, I'm going to take on Big Trouble in Little China with Kurt Russell."
That was a wonderful movie.
Yeah, and all the fans said, "Hell no, don't even touch it. It's a cult classic. Don't try it." Real quick, a little thing about Kurt Russell. I didn't get to the show.
Okay.
We'll go back to Fast and Furious. We're going to end with that.
Go for it.
Kurt Russell. Of course, he's got Guardians of the Galaxy. And he's got the Fast and Furious change.
Right.
And you were telling me about Quentin Tarantino?
Yeah. We were all saying how what really brought back Kurt Russell from obscurity, because I always loved Kurt Russell. What really brought to me for Kurt Russell was The Thing, when he made that movie in the 70s, The Thing, when he did, what was that other great movie I loved, Escape from New York?
Right.
Tombstone, and Quentin Tarantino helped bring him back with Death Proof.
Tombstone has Val Kilmer, who did Batman.
Oh, yeah.
And of course,
One of Val Kilmer's best roles.
and Bill Paxton. He passed away. He plays one of the brothers. I definitely recommend this Western, Tombstone. It's basically a remake of the OK Corral, but this is like the most original and most accurate, because in all the other movies remake of the OK Corral, it's always a 5-10 minute sequence. The actual showdown only happened in less than a minute. But anyway, that's a little reference to Kurt Russell. Okay.
Okay.
And real quick, now, Vin Diesel also has Fast and Furious and Guardians of the Galaxy. He's going to play Baby Groot. The reviews are out. They say Guardians is even better than the first one, and Baby Groot steals the show. Now, a lot of people don't know that he did the voice of Iron Giant. Okay, some of you hardcore fans know this, but there's a special feature in here where he says that they told him, you're going to be grumbling a lot, but we want you to actually learn the lines and actually, so the animators can focus on you and you have to be in character. Really nice. So, yeah, I am Iron Giant. And you see him in the booth doing all these animated movements as a robot. Exactly. Okay, so you might want to check out the special features and say, well, he says, I am Groot. He had to do it in different languages, but he did a lot of different postures. So he was earning his keep, you could say. And a lot of people said, oh, he cried, so what? He's not really a good actor. There's 2 films. I'm going to back Vin Diesel up. This is a Boiler Room, okay? He plays it straight. Guy in a suit, a business, Wall Street. Think of that. And he pulls it up. Because of this film.
We got a minute.
Because of that, that's why Steven Spielberg hired him for Private Ryan. The other one is Find Me Guilty, directed by Sidney Lumet. He played a mafioso guy. Anyway, so do you recommend Furious 8 to see it? Yes or no?
Yeah. I enjoyed it. If you enjoyed the Fast and Furious franchise, you'll enjoy it. If you come new to the franchise, you might not understand it at all. But if you already started catching up with the franchise from number 5 on up, then you're fine. Because I think 1 was good, 2 was almost a throwaway, 3 had nothing to do with almost none of the cast, 4, I don't think I can remember what 4 was.
Tokyo Drift.
No, 4 wasn't Tokyo Drift. I think 3 was Tokyo Drift. 4, I don't know what 4 was.
It doesn't matter.
That's it.
Most hardcore fans start with number 5.
We got a few minutes now. Maybe we should say our goodbyes before we go to YouTube. All right? See you later.
Okay, so
now this is for YouTube fans.
For the YouTube fans. Now let's really get into, let's do a little history about the franchise.
Damn okay. Right. Let's work into it. Let's go for it.
This is going to be 15 minutes as a bonus part of for you YouTube fans. And
let's count the clock.
Okay, 15 minutes. So, and I said a lot on my radio show, so I can give Mark time over here, so we can get his side of the story. I said really, this was filmed in Puerto Rico, took place. Now the beginning is it took place in Brazil when they're running on the rooftops. Okay, but then they switch over the car chase, and if you notice on the rooftops, they all got dish antennas, dish TV and stuff like that. That's a Puerto Rican thing, okay? They can be broke, but they got to have the dish TV. Brazil is broke, okay? So you can tell the 2 differences between Puerto Rico.
I'm surprised the Brazilians are a lot smarter. They haven't figured out how to just come up with their own dishes. I've seen a lot of countries they always talk about on YouTube. There's a lot of poor countries, and they say, this is how you make your own dish.
Yeah. Well, we won't get no legal problems over here. But anyway.
Hey, that's YouTube. I had nothing to do with it.
And at the end, of course, they get on that bridge. They're chasing. They're going through the 2 cars. They're going through the town, and they're dragging this big safe. Okay, physically that's impossible. But
brilliant.
Yeah, but that bridge is a famous bridge in Puerto Rico that gaps from San Juan to the airport. Before you had to go through the old town to go, and it was a real nightmare. You have to drive like maybe 3 hours ahead of time to catch your flight. This, you get on this bridge, and you get in your airport about 20 minutes. So that's where they filmed it, even though they're saying this is Brazil. That's actually Puerto Rico. Now,
I'm surprised Cuba was really filmed in Cuba and not Puerto Rico.